I've spoken in previous videos about how I like movies that involve churches, and specifically the Catholic Church. All of those ecclesiastical trappings, the settings, the rituals, the lore, all the details. There is so much there that can be used in filmmaking and in storytelling. And when we're talking about movies that involve that, we're usually talking about horror movies. And that makes a certain amount of sense. The stated purpose for the church's existence involves the mysteries of good and evil and life and death and the eternal cosmic battle for the fate of human souls. All of this is perfectly suited for horror movies and for supernatural thrillers. But that is not the only kind of movie to which the church as a setting and as a world is suited. For everything else the church is or may be, there's no denying the fact that it is also a political institution, both in terms of its influence on the world's influence on it, but also its own administration, its own its own ability to persist. It is probably the oldest and biggest political institution in the world. And that brings us to this Drafthouse Diary, because on Monday, November 11th, 2024, I went to the Alamo Drafthouse at Littleton's Aspen Grove to see Conclave. This was directed by Edward Berger. It stars Ralph Fiennes, also features Stanley Tucci, John Lithgow, Lucian Samadi, Sergio Castellitto, and Isabella Rossellini. And the story is a fictional one. It's not a docudrama, but it is well researched as to the details it portrays. In the story, in the present day, the Pope has died. This means that the College of Cardinals must conduct a conclave to elect a new Pope. And Ralph Fiennes plays Cardinal Lawrence, the Dean of the College of Cardinals, who is responsible for administering this process. And he is surrounded by those with their own ideas as to how this should play out. The movie does a good job of portraying this election as something that most of those involved take very seriously as a sacred duty, while at the same time acknowledging and portraying the political aspects that it has. One of the tensions at the center of the movie is between the liberal faction of cardinals who believe that the church needs to adapt and respond more to the modern world, and a conservative faction who believe that the liberalization of the church has weakened the church, and who would like to see it returned to a state more like it was 60 years ago. And of course, there are many shocks and upsets and changes throughout this story. But by and large, it is a good story. It kept the tension throughout, though I occasionally found myself wondering how many twists and turns and crises can this one conclave face. There were excellent performances in this film. A couple of years ago, I would have been very happy to see Ralph Fiennes get some Oscar acknowledgement for his work in the movie The Menu. I would be delighted to see him get at least a nomination for this, maybe even some of those supporting actors as well. As for the filmmaking, occasionally the cinematography got self-indulgent as it held these close-ups on environmental details beyond the point when it became evocative and instead it became distracting. But by and large, it is very good. At its best, it is painterly, it is rich, it is beautiful to look at. And the cinematography and the editing and the script, they worked together to highlight the fact that what we're seeing is a modern version in the modern world of a process that goes back for centuries. I do want to tell you about the rest of my visit to the Alamo, but in the meantime, if you've enjoyed this, please click the like button, and if you want to see more of these Drafthouse Diaries, please click subscribe. I do one of these for every one of my visits to an Alamo Drafthouse anywhere in the country. And also, in the comments, let me know, what is your favorite movie featuring a church, or maybe another institution of this kind of long-standing? I'd be very interested to hear that. The Alamo pre-show for this feature was interesting. A lot of it was clips under the heading of Pope Culture, which had shorts and trailers involving the Vatican and the papacy. British pathé shorts including a newsreel on the coronation of Pope John XXIII, a short about tourism at the Vatican during his papacy. Also trailers for Pope-related movies like The Shoes of the Fisherman and Saving Grace. And also some news items from more recent papacies, including breakdancers performing for Pope John Paul II, and the current Pope Francis receiving a happy coat in Japan. And there were some commercials and movie clips featuring stars of the movie Conclave. For dinner at this visit to the Alamo, I got a Guinness and I also got a Margherita pizza. They do a pretty good Margherita pizza. They don't overdo it on the basil, which is important. So I hadn't had that in a while and I enjoyed it. Still no bonus features on the menu, and I do expect that that's going to come when Wicked opens. We'll see in a week or two whether I'm right about that. The theater was very nice, very comfortable, and the lobby of the theater showed the Alamo's current holiday merchandise push, including lots of merchandise for Wicked and a lot of interesting and fun general Alamo merchandise, including a blanket with the Alamo's Shh logo. That's a clever bit of merchandise for the Alamo to offer, because I do see a lot of people bringing blankets to the movies these days, to the Alamo as well as other theater chains. The temperatures seem to be very hard to predict in some of these large multiplexes. And in general, I had a very friendly server, very comfortable theater, so it was a good time at the movies. Thank you very much for joining me. I'll be back soon with more, and in the meantime, enjoy your movies, and when you do, stay till the end of the credits.